Hey there my handsome and pretty little Cobras, and welcome back to the Cobra's Nest. For those who are here new, my name is Mignon Cobra and I make minimalism videos. So today's minimalism video is actually going to be a subscriber request. It's actually from a recent subscriber, so hi! And they were asking me an interesting thing about struggling of having feelings of like not worthy or mixed feelings of guilt when purchasing things. So I'm going to be talking about today 4 points that I think that could help them out. That's something that I have personally struggled with and could help somebody else out, because I think minimalism is a journey and we're all growing and we're all changing. So without further ado, let's just get into the video. Let's get it, let's go. Woo. You know, it's funny, this topic is one that is nothing new to me. I have struggled with feelings of unworthiness since I became a minimalist. I have a video of me crying and complaining about this concept. At the time, I understood it as a ditto effect, which was like if I bought something new, my appetite would just get out of control because I'd go so long without buying anything that by the time I bought something, I just would feel so guilty and I just feel so awful. And it's been 4 years since then, because at that time, it was about 4 years into my minimalism journey, and now it's been 4 years since that time. I'll be almost going on 8 years of being a minimalist, so I've definitely had a lot of experience struggling with this, because I feel like a lot of minimalists that I have watched when I was younger, they didn't really talk about it as much. It was more kind of like, this is the minimalism standard, you either fall, like you either reach it or you don't, and there was never any like gray zone. And so I struggled with this a lot. Probably that's been the hardest thing that I have struggled with, is the feeling of unworthiness or feeling like I'm not a good minimalist because I've wanted things. I have made a lot of videos talking about decluttering desire, which is something that I practice, but kind of led me down a dark hole where then therefore I felt bad if I did want something. So I hope that these points can help you out, because they're the things that I have come to use to kind of, in my mind, find peace with this struggle. Okay, so number 1, does it spark joy? I definitely used a very Fumio Sasaki tip, which was, even if it sparks joy, you should get rid of it. Before that, I followed KonMari, which was, if you have things in your life that spark joy, you should keep it. So I was doing that. And then later I ended up reading Fumio, and he's like, you should declutter it, even if it sparks joy. And I was like, oh, wow, damn, okay, sure. So I got rid of everything that I loved. I got rid of makeup, I got rid of like clothes, I got rid of luxury, I got rid of hair care. Everything that made me happy, everything that who I was before I became a minimalist, I was like, that's it. I really can't have that stuff in my life. And I was very unhappy. And it got to the point where if between being like a good minimalist and being happy, then maybe minimalism just wasn't for me. And so I started taking breaks from them. I haven't really documented any of my breaks, but I will be making a video shortly on that. 10 tips how to take a healthy break from minimalism. So I will be doing that shortly. But I just wanted to kind of say here on camera that I would take breaks. My breaks would be about like a month or two, where I would just be a normal person and I would buy things that I wouldn't normally buy. I would eat things. I would do things that I wouldn't normally do. So I'd go to the mall more often. I would eat more like junk food. I would be more of a normal person. And that kind of gave me the space to kind of like, because once you do that for a while, it's like very like honey, which is like very like thick. So you just like, okay, I need to clean my palate. And so I feel happy coming back to minimalism. But if you practice minimalism, like extreme minimalism for a really long time, you start entering a realm of feeling really deprived and almost kind of depressed. And I felt like this is very akin to being dead, because I can't eat, I can't consume, I can't live. I was like, what is the point of life? And so in that, I have come back now full circle to becoming who I actually was before I became a minimalist. Who I look like now is very similar to who I was before I was a minimalist. I mean, there's still a few things that I don't do. One, I will never go back to dyeing my hair or straightening my hair or dieting. Those are 3 things I will never go back to. But in terms of aesthetic, I wear makeup again, I work out again, I watch a lot more frivolous stuff. I've included back into my life more like jewelry, makeup, certain types of prettier clothes. This is who I was before I was a minimalist. And I guess in some ways, when there are no restrictions or labels, we just be and become who we want to be before minimalism puts us in another box. And I think minimalism is a good training wheel to kind of train us to kind of really truly figure out who we are. So I think it's really funny that I am now who I was, a more refined version of who I was before I became a minimalist. So I think at the end of the day, I much prefer to live my life the KonMari way, which is I want things that spark joy in my life, and I don't care that other minimalists will come for me saying
that's not very minimalistic.
You know, I don't care, honey. I don't. I lived my life too long in the trying to live up to the standard, this ideal. There's no minimalism police. You have to be strong in what you love. So for me, it's more makeup. Honestly, I like clothes, and that's not something that's very typical of minimalists. A lot of minimalists have ultra extreme capsule wardrobes, and I did try it, and I think it was a beautiful experience. But because I tried it, I'm very happy to say that having clothes is something else that makes me happy. There's things that I'm never going to go back to. I don't want furniture, and I don't want a lot of color, so that's something that's not going to come back, because having decluttered it made me even happier. So I was like, ooh, that was a good declutter declutter. I guess that's what it is. You should see decluttering as a process of experimentation. Take it out, take it back in. Even Fumio himself, there's one thing he decluttered 3 times. He had a foot massager machine. He decluttered it 3 times, and upon the 3rd time, he realized, oh, it really is for him. And so he has brought it back into his life. And could we all be here and judge Fumio like you're a bad minimalist because you have a foot massager? It's a personal journey. Don't worry if what you like and don't like isn't the same as other people. That's something that has helped me a lot, is realizing that I'm not the same as other people, and I think that's okay. Like, I am okay with that. Okay, the second thing is no categories are off limit. As I've done more research, because, you know, as this is like my career, I do a lot of research. I follow the Reddit, the subreddit of minimalism, and I read, and I also watch a lot of YouTubers. I have realized minimalism is massive. There's no off limit category. I used to think there were certain things you couldn't do to be a good minimalist, but as I watch more and more variety of minimalists, nothing is off limit. If you like color, you can wear color. If you like luxury, you can have luxury. If you like a lot of clutter, there's even a couple things that I've kind of heard that even like a minimalist, a true minimalist is actually a maximalist, because they're gonna have more of what they actually love. I remember one time I heard that like knitting is not considered minimalistic, and I've seen that a lot of minimalists knit. So I'm kind of like, what's going on here? You know, so honestly, no category is off limit. I hope that gives you some relief, because that's a relief for me. There was no one telling me makeup was allowed, and that was really difficult for me. I had to be the one to come down and put my foot down and be like, no, I don't care if I'm not a good minimalist, then I will be the rebel sheep, but I will die on the makeup hill. I just want you to know that there are no off category that's off limit. Number 3. Minimalism isn't even real. And you know, it's funny, I didn't even come up with this idea myself. A close friend of mine actually did. Hi, Jay. And I was crying to her about the fact that I got the iPhone, and I felt so guilty. I felt so unworthy. That's actually what sparked the most recent feeling of guilt in myself. Was I copped the iPhone, and I just felt like, wow, like I feel like a piece of shit. Like I feel like I'm not worthy of such like a luxurious phone. Minimalists have to be humble. We can't have like really nice things. And I have a new iPhone. Like I feel so terrible because I broke the duplicate rule. Now I have 2 phones. I have something that's just like frivolous. Like and I've wanted an iPhone for a really, really, really long time, so I felt really bad. But anyway, she gave me a really good piece of advice as she was like talking to me. She was telling me that she's like, her concluding statement, and it was so profound. Like, she's so much younger than me, but she's so wise for her age. She told me minimalism isn't even real, and that just
was like, oh my god,
I felt like it took me to another level, where I realized some of the later and last stages of minimalism is you're going to have to declutter your minimalism at one point. And I just felt like, wow, like in some ways I've kind of made minimalism a crutch for me. I don't want to let go of being a minimalist, because I feel like then I'm not even a good minimalist. But I actually think that a true minimalist isn't a minimalist. They have let go of that. And I've actually seen a couple minimalists that I used to follow. They're not minimalists anymore. 2 good examples that I can think of that is Simple Victoria and Jenny Mustard. Both of them have claimed to no longer follow that label of being a minimalist, and they now indulge in the things that make them really happy. Minimalism isn't even real, but if that's something that can help you right now, is that it's just something that we made up in our minds, and we put the categories and the labels and the restrictions and the limits. There's actually no limits, and minimalism isn't even real, so you actually technically don't even have to worry, because it's not even real. It's just something that exists in our head. So yeah, I will definitely be copying the iPhone 4 when that comes out, and I will not be feeling guilty whatsoever. And hopefully the camera's better, because you guys know that I was super disappointed in the iPhone 13 Pro's camera. Yo, garbage. I'm sorry. I realized a lot of my subscribers, as like we were talking, they all have the iPhone 13. I'm so sorry, guys. Please don't hate me. This is just how I personally feel. Okay, number 4. It's a deeper issue than minimalism. So as I was talking with the subscriber who mentioned this about feeling like not worthy, and I'm not going to disclose what they told me, because that's personal. That's between me and them. I am going to offer what I felt. So how I realized for myself personally when I was feeling really guilty about these things is I actually ended up realizing, and it took years for me to figure this out, but it's the issue was not even about minimalism. It was an issue that ran even deeper than minimalism. I figured out that, like, although I felt like it's just me not being a good minimalist, it wasn't even actually about that. And the example that I can give was I went to the store with Will. I think at the time, I think I was a 3-year-old minimalist when the story happened. So I was 3 years into my minimalism, and I was trying to be a good minimalist. But I really, really wanted to buy lipstick. I have never stopped loving makeup. So in secret, I was like, I'm gonna buy myself a lipstick for Chinese New Year, right? And I had already gone 1 year without buying any makeup. And I bought it, and I walked out of the store. And I remember I felt like I needed to cry, because I felt like, oh, I bought myself makeup, like I gave in, like even though it's only been a year, like I'm so angry with myself. And the universe knew that I wasn't ready to embrace my makeup, because the moment, it's pretty funny, I really do believe in the law of manifestation. So my lipstick was brand new. We went upstairs to the 2nd floor to Starbucks to like chill and relax. I opened my lipstick, and as I opened it, I don't even know how or why, like I opened it and I broke the bullet in half. We had literally just bought it like 10 minutes ago, and I broke the bullet, And I started crying and sobbing because I felt like, see, I knew it. Like, the universe is telling me, like, you don't deserve makeup. Like, you don't deserve nice things. And it was such like a heart, like, I know it's just a bullet lipstick and I'm laughing now, but like when I remember back to it, like I was just so upset because it wasn't even about the lipstick being broken. Will ended up, like, just to stop me from crying, went downstairs and bought me a new one. But I remember I just had so much guilt because at the time nobody wore makeup as a minimalist, and I just felt like this is why I'm not a, this is why this is happening to me. Like I clearly suck at being a minimalist. Like I can't even control my urge for makeup. So yeah, my point being is I realized that these issues were deeper than just being a minimalist, because once I got over it, once I accepted in my life there was going to be makeup, then all of a sudden it had no power over me. I have makeup now. Like I have makeup in my life, and I don't cry and I don't care that people may judge me for having makeup. I'm just like, meh. This is the most I've ever, like, least bought makeup. Like I was able to go a 1 year no buy, no makeup buying, and it didn't bother me because I felt like in my collection I already had like pieces that I loved. I'm gonna show you guys this piece. Like I just had pieces in my life that made me super happy, because I felt like if makeup's gonna be in my life, I'm gonna pick the pieces that spark joy and make me really happy. But when it was the opposite, when I felt like I couldn't have anything that I wanted, I couldn't have makeup, like I felt like it was like taboo, it was just such a miserable experience. And so I had this deep cravings for it. So that's something that I realized in my recovery from anorexia, is that you have to eat what you love. So when I recovered from my anorexia in 2019, I ate everything that was forbidden. I drank milk in my coffee, I had sugar in my drinks, I ate pizza, I ate dumplings, I ate cake, I ate croissants. These are all my favorite foods to eat, and I put on a lot of weight, but it was the happiest that I've ever been. And so I realized that, and then my appetite kind of weaned out as the year went by, and then I got to a place where I was like, oh, it's just a croissant. I could eat one or maybe even half, like, oh, I'm full, and then just put it away and like not even think about it. But when I was still in recovery, I remember Will would be horrified that I could buy like an entire bag of like bread, like, and eat all 12 loaves in one sitting and still be like, I'm so hungry. I couldn't, like, my stomach would be distended and like I couldn't feel the sensation of fullness. And so I've kind of realized that our appetite is the same, for appetite for food and appetite for things. You should have in moderation what you love. Otherwise, you're just going to develop an unhealthy relationship with it. And I use makeup because that's the one that I struggled with. So what I'm trying to say is that it runs deeper than minimalism. Another issue that I've had with is money. My minimalism and my money and classism is very closely tied, more so than I actually thought. I haven't mentioned this before, I only became a minimalist out of financial need. I was in a very bad place financially, and I needed some sort of lifestyle that glorified not spending money, because I was just such a shopaholic. So I became a minimalist out of financial need. And so sometimes in my videos, money and frugality comes out, and I feel like it rubs people the wrong way, not because of me, but because of their own. I mean, if you didn't care, it wouldn't bother you, right? So I've kind of noticed that when subscribers feel very strongly when I do mention money and classism in videos, it really makes them uncomfortable, because I think that money is a very sensitive issue. It's not a light issue, so I do my best to be sensitive about it. But I'm just trying to explain that for me, a lot of my issues with minimalism weren't really about minimalism, but rather my own feelings of like inferiority or struggles with class and money, and also like my restrictive behavior. I'm very neurotic about being restrictive, as you can see, as with makeup and with like my anorexia. It's getting like super long and really ranty. I hope that these 4 tips helped out anybody who's like struggling with their minimalism. I guess the conclusion that I want to say is that your minimalism should be you living your best life. If something makes you happy, I think that it deserves to be in your life. That's all that I'm trying to say. And at the same time, if you feel like you want to figure out a life that involves you being happy outside of your material possessions, you can definitely do that. But I don't think we need to demonify our material possessions, because minimalism is just a tool at the end of the day. Thank you so much for having taken the time to watch, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Comment down below. You guys know that I would love to read it. Others would love to read it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye. We don't need to, so I just kind of wanted to say that. Okay, it's but I'm gonna do, come on.